Welcome back to another episode of the Football Pundits. Unfortunately, for the gents who are joining me right now, it's not such a great night. It's not been a good weekend for them. 3-0 to City. Guys, we didn't expect that. We have Alok Badri from India Spurs, obviously, and we have Raihan. He has an 18 yards podcast. Obviously, he's part of the Spurs fan club as well, and he runs this podcast there. Raihan, since it's the first time, I'll start with you. Uh,
Mhm.
Post-game comments, man. Not what we expected.
I mean, from my perspective, I mean, it's probably exactly what I expected, unfortunately, and that's what, I mean, that's what kind of makes it worse. I was sat there 2 hours before the game, and I was thinking, I mean, I was not expecting anything from this game because, I mean, fine, it's been 5 years since we won at the Etihad, etc. But not just because of where Spurs are as a team, it's just because of where City are. I mean, like you saw it tonight, you saw it last week. We'll see it again next week, probably. I mean, those guys are on a different. They're like Liverpool last season. But yeah, for me, but I was expecting at least the least I expected was some show of intent from Spurs, which we only found as we have in many games this season at the 80th minute. It was again disappointing, I mean, we just lost possession again and again and again and again. Two out of the three goals were individual errors. I mean, how goalkeeper gets an assist against a top six club is beyond me. So yeah, I mean, disappointing to say the least.
Alok, we were talking about, Loris in our last episode as well, right? And is it that Loris has kind of had that I'm done with the defense and like I need help, like someone save me, so he's given up? Even if that's true, though, that okay, you can say genuinely if Gundogan hits that goal properly or Wax gives it a good go, he saves it. But it's Loris, man. We saw it against Liverpool as well. That first goal with Dyer. Dyer was terrible as well. How do you let a ball bobble across you in front of your keeper 3 yards out of goal, right? So is it just Loris? So it's your whole defensive. It's just a mess.
Yeah. I think we discussed this last time also. It's entire defense, the four defenders and the goalkeeper. They're all responsible for what happens in and around the box, and none of them are taking any responsibility. You can see defenders are losing their players. They're just running past them. Before that goal that Gundogan scored, Sterling actually ran from the right flank to the left flank without any tackle. I can understand it was in the box, so the defender was naturally scared to make any tackle. But that's just unacceptable. And Loris, I don't know, like if he's thinking that just because he doesn't have a good defender, now he's given up and he's like, okay, I'm not going to save any. That's not what a captain does. He's a captain. He needs to show from. I mean, he needs to show that he means the business. If no one else is performing, he has to perform. And the kind of goals that he gave away, okay, the Gundogan goal, I mean, the third goal that he scored, I don't think Loris could have saved that, but the penalty was savable. Very, very soft hands. I don't know how he can get his entire hand to the ball and then still let it go past him. And the second goal, Gundogan's first goal, uh, beaten at the near post. He couldn't decide whether to go with his foot or whether to go with his hand. I don't expect this from a World Cup winner goalkeeper and a captain of a football club. Something's not right in the entire defense line. I think Tanganga today was the only positive thing about this entire defense, where Sterling actually had to change his flanks so that he could beat Davis. Tanganga couldn't give him any breathing space around the box. Uh, so I think that's the only positive to take from. I think the entire defense line has to be changed. We need a very good
I was
goalkeeper.
about to ask you,
Uh,
is there a positive here? Like I was about to ask you, as there's it's look, you might think I'm enjoying this a bit,
yeah.
little bit, but genuinely it's worrying because you looked at Spurs till December.
Yeah.
Ironically, the game you all beat City 2-0, right? You made the best of your chances, and that's what Jose Mourinho side does. That's what he did
Yeah.
United his second year. He went for the
Mhm.
Europa because he knew the quality he had.
Yeah.
Looking at Spurs, it's worrying now because your midfield is fine, right? We just discussed this. Your attack is Kane and Son. The problem is it because it's so much on Kane and Son that they're not letting Bergwijn, not letting Mora, not letting Gareth Bale into this squad? Is it like counterproductive for you that because they are doing so well, they're not giving anybody a shot, like a shot to balance into your squad?
Mhm.
Is that the case?
I don't know. I mean, if I'm Lucas or I'm Bergwijn, I'm going to look at that Kane and Son are always going to be heavily marked, right? The managers are going to have special tactics to only stop Kane and Son. That means you have a free run at the goal. That's what Son used to do when Kane used to draw the defenders, or Delhi used to do earlier. When Kane used to draw defenders and Delhi used to make those runs. There is no one to make those runs currently. There is no one to take responsibility. Too much time on the ball. You see, there is absolutely no urgency. At the 80th minute, I was posting it on. I think I'd made a tweet that we were playing like we were 3-0 up, and City were more urgent than we were. I think it's entire team that someone's lacking somewhere. We're looking at the long balls again and again. There's no creativity in the midfield. We're looking to play sideway passes or the backway passes. Lucas Lamela just not good enough to provide any service to Kane. Kane needs some good service. I
Yeah,
think Bale steps up now, but
that's
otherwise
the
it
thing,
looks very
Alok.
weak.
That's the thing about Bale, right? So then,
Yeah.
Ryan, we can give it to you. What about Gareth Bale? What is his role in this squad? We all know when he was brought in, we had a feeling, look, everyone said, oh, Bale, second coming, Spurs, he'll kill it. It wasn't that. It was just like a build up in the media, right? But this is still far more underwhelming than that too. Something's got to give, right? Is it a Mourinho against a player, or is Bale actually what Zidane said, that he's past his confidence level, not his prime, his confidence level, like his motivation isn't there, because you need that to take a side like Spurs, because Bale's a winner. He's won Champions League for his side. That's what the side needs. What is the problem there with him?
I think, Bale's been extremely underwhelming. Everyone can see it, whether you're a Spurs fan or not. And I mean, I know for sure, I'm not even going to pose this as a question. I know for sure that Alok will feel the same way. Last 20 minutes, we're losing, maybe it's 2-0, 3-0 then. He comes on and still there's a smile on my face because the guy is wearing a Spurs jersey. So the sentiment is there. It's a fairy tale story. But on the field now, I feel what he needed and what he may still need is a kick up the backside. Okay, so what you've seen this week, where Mourinho's come out, and Mourinho's only done this with two other players in his time at Spurs. One was Tanga and Dombele, and we've seen the effects of that this season. Second is Dele Alli, and hopefully we'll see the effects of that. And third, it has been Gareth Bale, where he's come out and said his Instagram post was wrong. He's shown a lack of desire, and forget end product, forget goal, assist, that beautiful piece of skill he did, where he beat three defenders on the edge of the box tonight. The one thing that Bale, in my opinion, showed tonight was desire, and that's the main thing he's been lacking. I think the only other game he showed it in was the first game when he came on against West Ham, almost scored, and then against Wickham. In all his other games, he's been a sort of peripheral figure, and like you said, right wing possibly not the best position for him now. He should be played in the center. We're having problems with the player behind Kane
Because
at center attacking mid.
he has the finishes. You can see it. He can head the ball very well for a Premier League player against your Brightons, your Burnleys. You need someone like him who can, head the ball, push a bit. Your Moras, Bergwijns, Lamelas are not good for those, right? So
Exactly. So I think, in my opinion, now I've said what's gone wrong. What the way forward for him is, see, we are 7 points off top four. Every team above us is performing better than us. So there's no harm in now giving him, I don't even know, I've forgotten who we have next week in the Prem. There's no harm in giving him a run of 3-4 games. I know he'll play on Thursday. So if not Sunday, then next week. There's no harm in giving him a run of games where and just put him near the box. He will score. He'll score. He'll get that confidence back. And there is a very, very good player still in there somewhere. I'm completely sure of it.
Alok, for Bale, I think that's all you can say, right? Beyond the point, we'll be going back to his Real Madrid days where he was good against Barcelona in the cup. So that's, Gareth Bale, that's one angle at it. Maybe Mourinho also is doing his thing, right? No, Mourinho has a habit of sometimes the press conference is unnecessary, right? If the players, Instagram, whatever, it's social media, someone put something up, let it go, right? But in the end, that's what it's come down to. Eventually, the media loves Jose Mourinho, the good or the bad. Now they want the bad because it's plateaued. Pep is doing well despite injuries. Ole is doing well despite whatever. Yes, we are second, but could be worse, right? Tuchel's come, can't be criticized yet. They love Chelsea for some reason anyway. Arteta is there, Pep Jr. So again, who's left?
Yeah.
If not Ole, it's Jose. So what about Jose? Do you think he's doing enough to motivate this squad? Do you think genuinely, apart from Bale and managing certain players, because look, Ndomble worked. What he did last year, Ndomble worked. Ndomble visibly as a neutral, I can see, showed up as a player. Last year he wasn't even a player. This year he's a proper player who plays football in Premier League. Last year he was Sunday League at best, right? Do you think he somewhere lost his edge genuinely?
It's very difficult. I still don't understand what the problem is. I mean, I just made a tweet, and Rehan and I were talking about it. That if you hear his touchline instructions, he's always shouting at players to press, press, press. But what we actually play is exactly opposite of that. So I don't understand that what's lacking there. If it is players who have stopped playing his way, or what Mourinho does is set his play team very defensively, and then expects those players to perform something totally different than what they have been training all week round. So I still don't understand what's going wrong at the club, but Mourinho has to take some blame. It's just not only those players. I think it's something has to do with the way we play or the way we train. Because there's absolutely no urgency in the midfield. We still kind of stroll around in the midfield, try to see whether a player is coming to take that ball or not. If you see this defensive midfielders, they're always showing their hands to the defender or the goalkeeper to pass the ball to. So there is something tactical problem, of course, and Mourinho has to take some blame for that, and he has to change something in that squad. We should be more urgent. We should be more creative in the final third. I don't think that Kane and Son are only capable of just running around the defense and running through the defense line and just make those direct passes to them and score on the score on the counter. I still think that they can do, they start building up plays, they start passing around the box, they show some confidence. Uh, Players piss poor, wrong first touches. They're trying something very ambitious, which they know that they can't pull off,
So that's
but
the
they
thing.
still try to do that.
So that's the thing. I can see even Ryan like shaking his head. So that's the thing then. Okay, Ryan, you
Yeah.
can join in here. Okay, both of you have this back and forth. So then is it just the
So
players? Is it come to a point where everyone realizes that the Spurs players, apart from Kane and Son, Lloris at one point, not anymore. Um, Maybe I think Alderweireld's past his prime. Has it come to a point where this squad could have used the Jose Mourinho 2 years earlier and the best of the defenders is already past their prime?
I think, in my opinion, with the whole Jose debate, I think there's a couple of things. One is that Spurs have a perennial tendency to collapse, right? We've seen it multiple times before. The season we were chasing Leicester for a title, we collapsed the moment the title was gone. We drew to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the Battle of the Bridge. We lost 5-1 to already relegated Newcastle. 2019, we're on a flyer in the Champions League, getting to the final. The rest of the season has collapsed. We went from, I can tell you, it was that moment Poch had that fight with Mike Dean at Burnley. Our Premier League season finished after that, and Poch's tenure at Spurs finished after that. So we have this perennial tendency to mentally fail, and you can say Mourinho needs to change that. But you look at the squad, you can change that with younger players.
All or
But this
nothing,
squad is,
all or nothing had
yeah,
that. Whatever said and done,
exactly.
all the banter aside, look, Arsenal and Spurs, okay, they fail in February. It's happening. Come Jan,
Yeah,
Feb, the mentality is to fail and they fail. That's where the banter comes around. It's like South Africa in international cricket, right? It just happens. Best of players, promising, older, almost works out, doesn't work out, right? Mourinho said you need to be you need to have the mentality, you need to be winners, right? Not happening.
so exactly my point, right? So one is the mentality. Second, same thing ties in. These players are now, I mean, I was watching before the Chelsea game last week. They were showing highlights from Spurs 5, Chelsea 3, 2015, 1st of Jan. Crazy game. Some of the players that, like, a majority of the players on the field then are still in the team. So a lot of like Alderweireld is past his prime, unfortunately. Sanchez 40 million, 42 million we paid. The guy can't defend. I mean, shameful what he did today. Ben Davies is not like it genuinely, and our local probably agree with me. This feels like we have one left back because Ben Davies is not even an able backup. And I'm still okay with that because Sessegnon is on loan. He'll come back, and Sessegnon and Reguilon, if we keep Reguilon in the summer, will be a good this thing, a good fight. We need two new centre backs. In my opinion, one of Doherty or Aurea need to go. We need a central midfielder. Whether if Tangai plays Piche, then we need a attacking midfielder because Delhi is not playing well. We need a right winger because Kane and Son can take the burden. But if one like Son this last month or so has not been at his best. So when that happens, we need the third guy to pitch in. Bergwijn had 3 assists this season, but still, in my opinion, the this squad has the capability. If we add 4, 5, maybe even 3, 4 signings into the first team. Last summer we went and made 7 signings, but maybe one or two players were actually a good addition to the first 11. The rest of the 5 were backup players. Regulon
Yeah,
and Højbjerg are in the team. They've
Yeah,
improved the team. The rest are backup players.
I
So we
think
need an overhaul, and I guess, obviously some of the tactics you have to blame Jose, but you can't blame the guy. The moment he plays attacking with this defense, you saw what happened on Wednesday. We conceded five
exactly.
goals. So no matter how many you were scoring,
exactly.
you were conceding more.
Exactly. Alok, I
I
come
think
to
we
you here.
can't.
You told me
Yeah,
this. You told me this in the last episode. You said ना भाई क्या करेगा वो attack करके तू देख what we'll concede. After that
yeah,
episode 5-4 Everton.
yeah.
You said we'll
I
score
mean, that's
goals. You
bound
like
to
we can't
happen.
hold.
That's bound to happen. We can score 10 goals, but we can still concede 11.
There is not
That's
one
how that.
defender.
Yeah,
Sorry, there is not one defender at the club, barring maybe Tanganga and Regulon, who has not made an individual error this season, including
yeah,
Loris.
yeah,
Rodon made one.
That explains
Dyer,
everything.
Loris, Aldred. That
yeah.
says
And
That
even
everything.
and even
explains
Region
everything.
and even Region made a
Regulon,
mistake in that
yeah, he made
first
one.
league
First
game that
game.
he League Cup game that he played against Chelsea. Even he made a mistake
Yeah.
that went for a goal. So I mean, this is not the Mourinho defense that we have seen in last 15, 16 years. He needs warriors there. He needs people who will put their bodies in line to to let that ball not go past them. I don't see a single player who can do that. They're
But
just
Alok,
only
like
shouting
Rehan
at
was
each other.
saying, it looks like you need a whole new squad, bro. Like
Of
Kane Son,
course, of course.
because at the way you're going, will Kane stay? Son might stay one more year. Will Kane stay?
I still don't know because I could see Ndomble, Kane, Son throwing their arms in the field today because Lamela had made a poor pass or Lucas Moura's first touch was so heavy that the defender nicked the ball off him. Uh, they are getting frustrated, and we can't blame them. I was just thinking about it today that if Pep was managing Kane, oh my God, he would have been a world beater already. I don't know what's happening. He needs players around him that supports him, that gives him the service that he deserves. Lamela, Lucas clearly not are clearly not those players. Bergwijn showed those early signs of him being that player who could change our fortunes, but clearly is not that player. Bale, like we
Okay.
have been saying that he was always going to be
We've
that
gone back to
super
Bale.
sub.
When we gone back to Bale,
Yeah,
I think I have to redirect this. Okay, so let's redirect this and to close. Okay, look, you
yeah,
played your toughest games. Liverpool is
yes,
done, Chelsea is done, City is done, zero all over the place. You can argue that even today's game, the first penalty wasn't a penalty, sets bad momentum, morale drops. But come on, it's a big game. I would expect Mourinho to drill his side to wake up from that, right? Maybe no
yeah,
excuse, but I get it. Look, VAR has been in City's favor. We all know City's been absolute trash this year without VAR. They would have literally lost 3 games or drawn, if at all, the ones they won. Leave that aside. Look, they're not up to the mark. Okay, but the tougher games are over. I think your toughest games left now are Arsenal and United, right? Because you played
yeah,
everybody else. So
yeah.
where do
Just
both of
United.
y'all see? Sorry.
I'm saying so. Just United.
Just United. I mean, I
Yeah.
would normally also
This is
happily
gonna.
shit on Arsenal with
I've
y'all, but at this rate, I don't think Arteta will happily also park the bus and be like, Oba, you go. Oba, today is your
Yeah.
game.
I've
Today
said
you try something. Against Sanchez and Dyer, the way they're playing, I think Oba, Laka, Jaka, Saka, they'll all figure their stuff, right? Okay, so like
Yeah.
before I go on, looking at the games you have left, not the tough ones, right? Where do you see yourselves finishing? Apart from the Carling Cup, you're expecting to win. Maybe not after this. And if
Yeah.
you all don't achieve any of that, do you think Mourinho or Kane will walk? So, Alok, you start. Rayhan after that, and then we close. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, top four is a bare minimum. I don't know how they do it, or I don't know how they can manage it this time. But this is the bare minimum expectation. Top four, one trophy. Now the only two trophies that we can win is a Carabao Cup, and we'll be up against City. At that point of time, I would have rather faced them on 28th of Feb, rather than facing them in April, right? Because that's so far into the season, and then you're already desperate to do something. If you had won this trophy on 28th of Feb, that could have changed the entire journey for us from that point onwards to the
And
end of the season.
imagine no Aguero, no De
Yeah,
Bruyne, and this is how they're still playing.
yeah. And I would have expected us to win that game on 28th of Feb, irrespective of how we play today. Because Mourinho in cup finals, I would still bet my money on him on any given day. So one trophy is a bare minimum. Either it comes from Europa League or it comes from Carabao Cup. I don't care, but that's the bare minimum for Jose Mourinho. Now, let's just say, to answer your question, that if he doesn't achieve any of this season, I would still want him to stay at the club for another year to see out his contract at least. I think it's one more year after that, if I'm not wrong. But I would still want him to stay at the club, finish the rebuild that he's started. That would be a very knee-jerk decision if we try to sack him now. A new manager will come. He will try to change the tactics again. We'll need new players for that, and it's just going to go the same way again, right? I would want Mourinho to stay, give him a good transfer window, which I highly doubt that Daniel Levy will give. But uh, I would still hope. There's this small hope that I have in my heart that give him the transfer window that he deserves, let him play the way he wants, and then see at the end of the next season. Will Kane stay? I hope he does. Will Son stay? I hope he does. But if Mourinho leaves, that's when I think Kane and Son might start feeling a little insecure, because then a new rebuild is going to start with the new manager, and they might not want to stay
That's
for that
what I was
rebuild
about to
again.
say. And
Yeah.
yeah, you can continue after this, and then we'll close. Mourinho walks, your big players walk too, right? Because unless you get an Allegri, which I don't see that happening for Spurs, this is trouble. I think it's Jose and then downhill, right? There's no up from here.
So, yeah, in my opinion, I agree. My answer on Kane and Son leaving is short. One is that post-COVID, not many clubs can afford him. Um, and I don't see Kane going to a Manchester United or a Manchester City. I think if he goes to Madrid or Barca or PSG. Now, those are Barca can't afford him. They're in financial shambles. Madrid's priorities are elsewhere. PSG are going to try and sign Messi. So this summer, at least, I don't think he's going to go. But I completely agree. I think Kane didn't walk after Poch got sacked because Mourinho was brought in. So I think if Mourinho's there, and which is what I'll get to now, then Kane stays. If not, the chances increase. But I still think next summer it'll be tough. He'll stay because other teams may not be able to get him. Because Levy is a tough negotiator. He's not going to let him go for under 200, 150 to 200 at the bare minimum. Now, on where we'll finish this season, um, I think unfortunately, what may end up happening is if we don't get fourth plus Carabao or bare minimum just fourth or then just Europa League. So if we don't get into the Champions League, then Jose's job is in doubt. Now I don't know if he'll get sacked because Levy's had this massive crush on him since 2004 and he's finally got him to the club. So I don't know if he'll sack him. Plus Tottenham for the last couple of years is not a sacking club. I mean, This team is 50% done. I made this point a couple of weeks back to another Spurs fan I was arguing with. This team is 50% done. You let him see out the next 50%. But then the thing is, next season, September onwards, September onwards, hopefully fans are back in the stadium. And I can tell you, when I'm studying in London, I go almost every week. So sitting at home, I can tolerate this style of play, because I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm not paying. I'm paying my TV bill. That's it. But when I'm back in London and I go for these games, it's very very tough. And you hear it on TV and it sounds like a cliche. Will the fans tolerate this? And early on in the season, I was also like, we were first. I was like, he's going to get us the title. I can tolerate it then. But if he doesn't get us, I'm okay with the Carabao. I haven't seen my club win since I properly started supporting them in 2010. I mean, here for 11 years, I haven't seen them win anything.
Y'all are
I'm
selling the
okay with the
2009 runners-up keychains of late, Alok. What is that? We've been seeing that on...
exactly.
But it's true. I thought it was a joke. I thought a United fan or Arsenal fan made that, but it's true.
I'll
Um,
take anything at this point. But in the end, Carabao Cup, I'm not going to tolerate this style of play just for the Carabao Cup. I want to be in the Champions League next season. Thursday nights are not for me.
so we all agree that it's a precarious time for Spurs. It's kind of Jose Mourinho or bust of sorts. I don't... So the way I see it is, gents, and to wrap this up, I think one of Kane or Son might just be both who will end up staying back, even if Mourinho gets the sack. There is hope at Tottenham only because you've made it so far with the likes of Levy. He's a shrewd guy. He will make it work for him. So I don't think it's that gloomy. But as far as where we were in December to now, it's quite a downward trajectory for y'all. I personally don't see Spurs not making top four. I still see us sneaking in because the season has gone so topsy turvy.
It's crazy. It's a crazy season.
Look at Liverpool. Even the way Liverpool are right now, Liverpool could finish second. I'm telling you, they can still finish
Yeah,
second. Right? It's how it is. There are no guarantees. For me, the only guarantee is City are happily blindfold
running away with the
Yeah.
walking
title.
towards the title.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there's hope for everyone in the chasing pack to make the top four. But yeah, thank you so much, gents, for joining me. I know it's not an easy one
You're
to do
welcome.
right after the game like that. Reminds me of the 6-1 after 6-1 game that I spoke to Alok about. Wasn't fun at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Appreciate both
Those,
of you
those were the
joining.
good days.
I was like, yeah, those are the
The
good
good.
days, man. You should have put more of those on record and kept more videos around y'all to play.
Yeah.
Didn't get better than that for y'all, clearly. But again, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you do give these gents a follow, India Spurs as well, the 18 Yards podcast too. Hit subscribe on our channel. Give a like on this video. Fellow Spurs fan, you can definitely leave your comments and engage with them more. We can do more of these videos. As you know, we've tied up with India Spurs to be the content partners. We hope the next time we do this video, like Alok says, we used to be a good luck charm for them, but now it's gone really, really, really bad. We hope it changes for y'all. But
Yeah.
again,
We
thank you
should
so
we should
much.
start recording more videos before the game and not after the game.
See what I've done, Alok? If you noticed, the last two have been after the game. You see what I've done now? Anyway, guys, thank you so much again. Cheers. We hope you have a better one next week.
You're welcome.